Hi, everybody. I guess we have about an hour today. Is that correct? Okay, so we're going to try to actualize some type of profound healing, profound support, profound relief, um, a reconfiguration, personally, socially, financially, inwardly, outwardly. We're trying to change the world by changing ourselves. That's what we're doing around here. All right, Opider Deol. First question.
The video that you sent us,
No idea.
the animals in
Oh,
nature that
hmm
had the senses,
that was like a piece of bait to see if you'll bite, because there's a lot of those things there. Now you just bit, so now I'll send some more. There's some profound, profound things about all the different senses, extraordinary senses that animals have. And you have those senses too. And it's important to become more aware of what's in your environment now.
So that leads me to my question, because where my question was, are there senses? I wish I could read my handwriting. Yeah, associated with a, a certain type of magnetism, and then also you just said we also have those senses, but in order to, it's almost like they don't have the same distractions that we do. So is there a reason why their senses are more heightened than ours?
Mm, great. Um, the cortex, is objectifying reality because the flower of the brain said that as a human being, I now know how to hunt, I know how to build things and so forth. And it became an addiction. So what we've done is gone into subject object reality, hunting the food, so to speak, or the external manifestation of what we want, and we forgot about the ingredients, the cake making, which is actually what we discovered as a caveman and cavewoman. Profound scent, profound sight, profound listening. That created these syntax in the mind and the cortex to be able to create an outer world that is more enjoyable for us. We could build a house, we could hunt better, and things like that. But we've become so focused on the cake that now we forget the ingredients. But the ingredients are always the same. Primarily, this is a sea of psychic magnetism. So you have magnetite bearing tissue in between your eyes. That's the same stuff that allows a pigeon to go 1,000 miles and come back to the same spot, even though it's locked in a box. Magnetite bearing tissue, the third eye opening. It means when your root, when your sexuality and your digestion and your connection to the earth is profound enough, power comes up the spine and it opens that third eye. And you begin to see things from the inside out. Rather than prey predator all the time, you begin to notice reality from the inside. What are you doing today? What's the next meeting? What's going on? How are you able to feel, sense, and see that within your body mind? And that's the primary extra sense that's going on around here, is sensing magnetism. So beyond that, uh, we have these other senses, and the intellect is constantly thwarting the senses because we're on the hunt. The words that are true meaning are actually shades of silence. So unless you can experience what happens in every tradition, the kiss on the forehead, the wiping of the bad karma on the forehead, the touching of the Tibetan stupa on top of the head, the putting the Catholic ashes on the head, unless the cortex becomes calm, you don't have access to subconscious and superconscious processing power. The Bible says a neat thing. It says, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the washing of the water of the word. That means that when you submit yourself to wise words, not you, something else, somebody else, wise words, not the stars, not nature. We think in terms of words. We have 60 to 80,000 thoughts, some estimates say. Thoughts consume us all the time, and we're always trying to figure it out. But when you say, not my words, but the words of Scripture, the words of this authentic, enlightened individual, like the Amachis or the Garchans or the Buddhas or the Jesus, now that washes your brain, like that quote. When your cortex is, don't try to understand everything, just let me wash you. When the cortex is washed, now you have access to the subconscious and the superconscious, because the cortex has words that satisfy it. so that then you feel safe, so you can all of a sudden just relax into the inner world while your eyes are open, while you're in environment. So now sensing and senses become much more important, because they are actually at the root of, let's say, somebody's words, for example. The roots of somebody's words is their intentions, is what's going on inside of them, is their emotion. So these other things like sounds and tastes and touches and so many different things become more present to your conscious mind, and they help you to understand what's behind words. And the way to get to this kind of profound perception is to let wise words wash your mind.
Thank you.
So that's what you're doing today. Logic tells you miracles are realities. Because why? Saints are not liars. So therefore, miracles are realities. Logic tells you that eternal life is reality. Why? Because saints are not liars. So logic extrapolates the reality that all of this spiritual stuff is real. So then I have to ask you, what are you doing today? Do you really think that doing that over there is more important than doing this over here? That's where you're wrong. That's where you sacrifice yourself, which is fine. People need to be sacrificed. I understand. However, if you as an individual realize the opportunity of, let's say, profoundly nourishing your mind and body by the walk on Kaliapalapa Akalakalaka, then when you come back from that walk, you know, your whole life is better. But when you constantly prioritize something else besides that walk, and it really is the teacher and the teaching, whatever that is for you, you're never going to succeed, because you don't have any power. There's no water wheel power, because you prioritize something else. Mostly we play energy chess with each other, you know. So when you surrender your energy chess to whomever a teacher is for you and whatever the scriptures are for you, and you become totally surrendered, that's when you begin to get healed. When you begin to get healed, the phone rings and says, you know, I need 200 samosas for the wedding. So you have to place more faith in the reality of the inner world, you know.
I laugh because yesterday I got a call from somebody that wanted 200 samosas, except she was in a different state.
200?
200,
That was the
except
same number?
she was in a different state. She didn't realize she was
How
calling
many
Hawaii.
times has psychic stuff happened through me in your experience? I just want everybody else to hear you say it.
Multiple times, beyond multiple.
So many times it's like unbelievable. Yeah. Is that correct?
Yes.
Anthony, give the quick thing about the... No, don't do it. I have to stop. I forget it. So, next question, Opider Deol.
Me again.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about ambrosial attack versus nectar? What's the difference?
You have to write that stuff down. Every time something happens, like the sand dunes, or I just said out of nowhere that the phone rings and somebody wants 200 samosas. I mean, when did I ever say that the phone's going to ring and give you a number of samosas? Never. Mm-hmm. And now after 5 years, I think, or something, I say that, and you said yesterday somebody called and asked for 200 samosas. I mean, get a clue, people. If you don't realize the psychic world, I don't know what world anybody realizes if they don't realize the psychic world. But anyway, say it again. I'm sorry. Ambrosial attack and...
Oh, can you talk a little bit more about ambrosial attack versus the ambrosial nectar, and what's the difference if there is one?
Cool. Ambrosial attack means that I'm surrendered to you because you're God and I'm not. And so since I'm surrendered to you because you're God and I'm not, then since you won't stop projecting and saying things and knowing things, then all your energy comes to me. And with that comes my exposure. And in my exposure, I have to tell the truth that I'm wrong, bad, and the problem, that I've done wrong, that I don't understand, that I'm confused, that I have incompetence. And that projection of other people's minds causes the agitation of this stuff in me that isn't right. And it gives me one more chance to remove the mortgage on my soul. So once I do the work of repentance, of recognizing whatever the circumstances are in my life that I'm learning, growing, and changing and maturing because of this exposure and because of this agitation, like the agitator in the washing machine breaking up the dirt, The result of that dirt being broken free from my dirty clothing is nectar. Biochemistry changes happen. And the more biochemistry changes happen, the more power you get. So power doesn't come from itself. Power comes from spirit, spiritual surrender and compliance. Spiritual principles, spiritual teachers, real ones, they exist. Amici, Garchin, so forth. And from the releasing of that dirt, because you surrender to the matrix world, the energy world, and you say everything's God wearing a mask, and you've experienced that terrible discomfort of being personally exposed. Not me being personally exposed. I'm playing the teacher, so I mean I'm doing that, but I have to teach you. You being personally exposed. Don't watch a TV show when I'm teaching. Apply it to yourself. So once that happens and you surrender to whatever's next on your plate today, and you see it in your mind's eye, this is when those extrasensory things begin to happen. Because your internal world eclipses your external world. Only when your internal world eclipses your external world do you have a life. Because otherwise you don't understand much about the supernatural reality of life. But if you do have this thing called faith and you surrender, then there's a lot of discomfort. There's a lot of agitation that's going to happen. And when that's released, it changes biochemistry and you get magnetic power. The power of the field comes to you. The power of environment comes to you. Like the water comes down from the mountain into the valley, and the valley is the most rich place. So that's how ambrosial attack becomes ambrosial nectar. And it all relates to the experience of being magnetically turned on, like the sexual magnetic heat wave. The Bible says a person without sexual energy is a dry tree. In Garchin, in the most advanced of Tibetan Buddhism, the two most advanced contemplations in meditation is seeing the yab-yam. That means the woman sitting on the man. What? They're not talking about sex. They're talking about the biochemistry changes that happen from sexual contact. And then the deity, the yidam. The yidam means, your deity. Is that Jesus? Is that tree? Is that anybody but you? Please get over yourself. Is that Haleakalakala? Is it Pele? Is it Guru Granth Sahib? Is it your grandfather? Anybody but you, please get over yourself. So now you have this external contact, and that creates hormonal changes in your body. But it's all dependent upon the initiation of ambrosial attack, which means I'm exposed and surrendered and transparent, no matter what the consequences, for my moral and ethical sins, problems. If you think sin's a bad word, you're just not that old yet. The Bible says if you don't have any sin, the truth is not in you and you have no place in me. So you're going to have to find out where it is that you actually are wrong, do wrong, don't understand, because that's the ante-up in the poker game of enlightenment. You have change, of being healed, of becoming incredible, extraordinary individual, of upping your intelligence, of upping whatever you want. That's the ante-up. That's step one, right? So once you do that, the agitation happens and you have expert counsel, you make a few repentance actions, and now nectar starts to happen. When that nectar happens, you're more attractive in the psychic world. You don't actually need to make any phone calls or get more connected. You're already connected with everybody. But, you give me 40 minutes to create the miracle. I'm on your time clock.
Appointment booked. Sophia already.
I understand. Next question. Anthony.
Okay. When a guru teaches us who we truly are and we feel their blessings internally, are we just to receive as a water wheel receives water?
Yeah, totally. The computer separated from the net is so limited. So you're not really disconnected from your family. You're not really disconnected from society, from people, from the government, from the past, from the future. It's all right here. So connectivity is empowerment, not you becoming powerful by gathering energy and then trying to exact your agenda in the next appointment. No, to become a conduit means the primary water is going to happen from guru person, which exists. Guru means the one who removes the darkness. I mean, logic tells you that there's an ascending and descending order of intelligence in any subject. So if you don't respect Einstein in physics, you're just not that wise yet. You're not that mature yet. You should honor Einstein if you want to learn about physics. E equals mc squared, a powerful thing. So the water comes from people that know more than you, but your mind says nobody knows more than me. And that's our problem. But if you do have this thing called guru, which means an extraordinary individual, I mean, the ones that I know, like Amachi, what does she speak, 15 languages or something? They're way beyond genius. Genius is a joke when you get in front of these people. Geniuses are the skills of genius come to you. The skills of being able to fix anything, learn anything, be a business leader, whatever, comes to you because this is above genius. So guru, an enlightened person, a saint kind of a thing, takes a lifetime of devotion to understand even what that is, you know. Now, you both of you, luckily, you have these conceptions, you know. You have the grandfathers, you have religious initiations, you have devotional families in some sense, where you have memories, you have hopes. That begins it. So you want to cultivate that so that you enter into the community of those people, so that today becomes immersed in those relationships, because that's the only way you're going to be healed. So then you become a water wheel. So the top of the water wheel is up here. The water comes from above you, as long as there are people above you. If there's not people above you, then you're helpless, hopeless, really. But if there are people above you, you surrender, the water comes in, and it starts these changes inside of your body, mind. And in Kriya Yoga and Tibetan Buddhism and Tumo and Qigong, it's the same flow of energy. You get this magnetic heat wave of tingling feelings in your body, and you move that magnetic heat wave of tingling feelings in your body into your karmas. Where are your karmas? In your biological biography. So you got to decide that there's certain wisdom that you're going to incorporate into your Bible, and you're going to repeat these contemplations into these questions, because you figuring out yourself and then dismissing such ideas, you can't get anywhere. Only endless repetition produces skill. The reason I say that is because in all the traditions, even in the Bible, Jesus says, believe on me, from your belly will flow rivers of living water. There's always this situation of the head and the crown and going down into the depths of your person, and then power coming up and bubbling over from your belly and your nether regions and producing this circuit of energy up and down, like going to sleep and waking up. So when you get into meditation, which is the ultimate personal resource, you will be experiencing these things.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Next question, Anthony.
All right.
Por favor.
How are we to be specific, disciplined, and focused while accepting the power of emotion over intellect?
Yeah, I wish I knew. That's my first answer. Maybe just realizing that it's an endless experience, and that you're going to be taken over by your emotion and your thought again and again and again every day. And you're going to fail again and again and again every day. So there's this vision that Corrie ten Boom had, who was one of the ladies that was in all kinds of the concentration camps and all kinds of tortures and everything. And she spoke of this vision that someone had of a vast sea of evil, a vast sea of sin and evil are together. And then she said that the person saw another greater sea that was more eclipsing than the sea of evil and sin, and that was the sea of love and grace. So when you experience non-cognitive grace for yourself as what you are, you could say, entitled to or something, let me see this here, then it just, and you have this obedience kind of a deal of where you're just trying to do something here, of where you're going to return to your practice or your communion, your prayer, your meditation, your feeling into your body. Your recognition of step 1 is recognizing where there's an unmet need or where you have some emotional affliction or something wrong, seeing where it is in your body. That's step 1. You're going to return to this process by non-cognitive obedience. The drum beat is the basis of the symphony. Step 2, you're going to slow down and accept grace. You're going to accept being washed by somebody else. Step 3, you're going to transcend. You're going to go beyond mind, body, circumstance, life. You're going to have a moment of transcendence, like breathtaking beauty in nature. That's the experience of the Olympian. That's the experience of the genius. That's also the experience of the saint. You go into a blissful reverie. Step 4, you come down and you enter conflict. You don't stay in la-la land. You don't become so spiritually minded that you're of no earthly good. You gather roots. You gain stability, personal gravity. Step 5, the blooming. You begin, now that your roots are intact, to expand into the vast expanse of nature's nourishing. You see what your next meeting is. You see the insides of people and what their experience is. Who's in touch with you and why? What are their intentions? You bloom into nature so that your field expands, so that your sphere of influence expands. The insides of trees, the twinkling stars, the crackling fires, the bubbling brooks, the flowing water, the mountains, the animal fur, the dolphin swimming, the elephant walking. When you become in love, then you're boundless in your perception, like alone in a scene of nature. That's blooming. That's when your power up happens and the stimulation happens. Printing. Next step, 6. When you really apply everything to your next meeting, to your relationships, to yourself, to discernment, so that your emotional experience is now governed by some reason, but it doesn't put out the fire of the emotion. Exalt your reason to the height of passion, that it might sing, because reason alone is a force confining, while passion left unattended is a flame that burns to its own destruction. Khalil Gibran. So step 6, you go into your past, you go into the present, you go into your environment, you go into the neighbors, you go into yourself. You perceive who's in touch with you and why, what are their intentions. So if you do this all the time, you're going to transfigure. You're going to turn into more light over time. The Bible says in the end times there'll be 2 people in the field. One's going to turn into light and the other one's going to be left to experience the horrors of the tribulation. So you want to go in the direction of turning into light. The rainbow body, the turning into light, it's in every tradition. So you do that by, in step 6, you have this printing of applying negative where negative is necessary to be applied, a positive where positive is to be applied, neutrality where neutrality is. In this quantum sea here, of this sea of psychic magnetism, you see the car, you see the tires, you see the road to Kaleapalakala, you see the people, you see the tourists buzzing around like people with their heads cut off. You see this, you see that, you see this, you see that. You see what's going on. You see the finances, what you can do, suffer lack with disease, loss, try to repent, try to make it right. Negative, neutral, positive. Coherencing. The principle of an electron in a superconductor is invincible in nature when the field of magnetism is self-coherence. So rather than prey predator out or searching, you're doing all life inside yourself. And that's what's called Meissner magnetism in science. Literally, a negative particle or a positive particle grounds when it touches the field. So if you can become humble and receptive enough to some teacher and to some teaching, you will make progress that you want in becoming. But as long as you're going to do it, you're doomed. Because you're not God. Saying I am God, I am enlightened is the dumbest thing ever created in New Age la-la land. Now, when you do what I'm asking you to do and you follow these steps, you do become more godlike, or you do become more imbued with powers and intelligence. You do become more one with God. But you should never say that like Yogananda says. That's just dissociation. You need to make this mind and this body and these circumstances, personally, socially, financially, past, present, future, to be in love, to be happy, to be nectarous. Then you're God. If you're not that yet, maybe you better find out step 1 where you need to have work done. So in step 6, you're coherencing yourself and others. so that you're clearing out the way. Behold, a way is made, the air is clear, a way is made. In your tires, in your engine, in the Walmart, in the person you're going to see, in the new lease, if there's a new lease there, whatever, in the family. And then it comes back to you in step 6, where you're wrong, where you're off, where you need to change, where you need to fix yourself. Back and forth between you and them, you coherencing, you're making things better, you're changing the neurology in your brain and body, you're changing their neurology too. The tendrils in space, the connections that you have in psychic space are clearing the air, making a way inside of other people's minds and hearts and minds and bodies. See, I always want to put mind first. And then step 7 is you go invisible. You go underneath the earth with your mind and you start sweeping the floor. Get in the car, start the car, go do your appointment, cut the vegetables, all a non-cognitive task. And you go back to step 1. The drum beat is the basis of the symphony. Next question, please.
Does it always start with non-cognitive beatings? Is that like the root of everything?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, that's just the way it is. But when you say that to anyone, they'll think, well, that's how, that's what Hitler did. I mean, that's what makes you a moron. And no, you just don't quite get it yet. If you want to learn about physics and you have a opportunity to be in the lab room with Einstein, you let him run the show. And so he might say, do this and do that and do this and do that. And you just do it, And once you get into this drum beat, like Bolero is the perfect example of the enlightened life. You have this drum beat, bum, bum, da bum, bum, da bum, bum, da bum, da bum, da bum, bum, da bum, bum, da bum, bum, da bum, da bum, and it goes on and on. It's the most boring classical music in the world. And then all of a sudden, the flute comes in. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. But
the drum never stops, right?
The drum keeps going the whole time in the background. But the instrumentation happens, Anthony. And then another instrument. I don't know if I can duplicate it. And another instrument. And another instrument. And the thing becomes this explosive crescendo of power. The mutual orgasm with two people in love. And it ends with the cymbals. That is the enlightened life. You constantly do these 7 steps because they model how enlightenment happens. And you constantly experience more crescendo moments of being on a higher plateau of where you completed the task and the epiphany moment. That creates this power that everybody's into. But if you're into the power as your primary thing, then the frequency of the power is going to be distorted, and any distortions in your mind and body are going to be distorted too. So you have step 1, and then you stop, you stop step 1 and you go to step 2 and you engage step 2. Step 2 is the opposite of step 1. So the drum beat is happening throughout the whole music piece, but you must not die with the symphony of your life unfinished. So there's instrumentation that has to happen. That means loving emotion. That means kindnesses. That means tenderness. That means gentleness. That means intelligence. That means healing in your body, mind. So you got the drum beat going, but that drum beat has instrumentation that's happening as the drum beat's going on. Now, if you cannot establish the drum beat, forget about everything and just do the drum beat. Now, how long you want to be a dumb robot, I don't know. But in the Bolero music example, the drum beat has instrumentation that happens. That's the woman passion. Let the woman passion come in and dance a little bit on your head, while you're doing the drum beat. But you have to allow that step 2 to happen, which is a surrender of the emotion to being loved, to being cared about by someone externally, not yourself. That's the press play. That's the passion of the woman. So the logic of the man, you could say, if you want a man woman it, generally speaking, with traditional thing, you might be more interested in establishing the drum beat. That's great. So make sure you establish a drum beat. 10s, 5s, customize, you're filling out the circles. And then go on to the other steps. The other steps have instructions to them. When you're interested and you ask me questions, then you'll be able to do it better. Next.
Hey, it's like you had that one question.
Which one?
The one you said, like, what happens after all that? He was just talking about it.
When practicing slowing down?
Yeah, that one.
Well, give me that one.
That was a good one.
Well, it was when practicing slowing down, the path advancing appears retreating, then something opens up, like seems like there's a shift into doing. When you go
There
into
is?
the doing, are you always in a
I
slow?
don't know anything about doing.
Yeah. Well, when you shift,
I'm a fountain of doing and action and helping people's lives and fixing things and gluing the new fox over there.
so
Just
are you
so many
always in
different
the?
things.
Are you
Huh?
always in the? Are you always in the slow
I'm only
pace
interested in undoing. And that
undoing?
makes my life a symphony of doing. But I'm not interested in doing.
Mm.
I'm interested in only in undoing. So if I'm doing something in step 2, the calming down, I have to get to step 3. I want you to understand this process separate from your physical life first. Then to integrate it with your physical life, that's next.
Mm.
But first, when you're slowing down, there's no doing anywhere. That's not even, that's step 7. Step 7 is doing. You have to have absolute suspended animation and stillness. The master's skill is to experience a pause, the Olympian, before they deliver. Please just ask me more about it, okay? And we'll figure it out.
You want me?
Yeah.
So I remember discussion. So what she's alluding to is, she practices, she slows down, she does the meditation, she has a slow energy. Then now she has this power, and she goes out and does, right? Now,
Okay.
what is she? Does she just keep doing? Does she start back over again, or what does she do with that
Start back
energy?
over again immediately. As soon as you enter the physical world, the only thing you're interested in is starting back over again.
Start back over.
The faucet is on and the power is flying through you. So there's no
Yeah.
problem with power. There's no problem with drive. Remember, drive is more important than inspiration, motivation, reason. You have drive because you rested well.
Mhm.
Now, what are you going to do with that drive? You have to turn your life into selfless service.
Devotion.
And when you're doing your action of selfless service, it should be grinding on you as step 1. Because you still are a little shit. So you're back to, the humility of step 1. And then so every process goes through these 7 steps. So when you start, let's say you have the appointment, and the appointment's going to last 30 minutes long. There should be those 7 steps in the appointment. You should guide the experience of the relationship to every time and any time you talk to anybody, those 7 steps happen. The 7 steps are a flow of feeling. Now, this is all advanced too much, but I think,
So they're like the
working together
waterfall
for
then.
5 years.
So they're like a
Yeah,
waterfall that you can always just be under and be the wheel.
that's it. Totally true.
Now,
Now you become one with God and stuff like that.
now I can
But unless
understand.
you're a water wheel,
Yeah,
huh?
I know why I get drained now. Well, because I fill up the buckets with water, and that's not the concept. I'm not filling buckets up with
No,
water and putting them on the side, right? I'm a
no,
water wheel. There's no filling of
right,
buckets.
right. And that water wheel goes into the earth and it goes into the sky. So it's not you as a unit that then is gathering power and intelligence and applying it. Is you as a conduit of the masters.
Permeability, right? Permeability.
Total permeability. And to recognize that being a failure, that's not going to stop. So,
I
and
can be permeable with that.
losing
So
or
only to beat
aging,
myself
that's what I would like to learn. Yes.
up.
I want to fix it, I want to change it. I want to not be a failure. I want to be healed. I want to be immaculate, wonderful, something. No matter what I do, work day and night, it doesn't seem to work that way. It seems to be that life is set to make me more humble, not to make me more great. And in that, I become more great, but that shouldn't be so interesting. Then what's more interesting is, what do I need to change in my behavior and my emotions? What is wrong with me that I need to make different choices? That's all I'm interested in. I'm not interested in anything else. I'm not interested in power, acquisition, doing anything. It's all nonsense. I'm only interested to surrender myself, and to try to understand some of this stuff I'm talking about with you here. And that's why I teach. They teach because they do not know.
I feel like I may have something that come to me that could be a real like something that's stuck in here. But I don't understand what it means. So I was going to ask you, but I feel like I suffer from this big time. Can you explain
Yeah.
what psychological, intellectual objectification is?
It means that the thing that you want to change is over there. You want to change her. That doesn't make any sense. If because of your example, she is influenced, great. You want to change him. It's making no sense. That's your source of life, changing him, making more samosas. Get a life. If you change yourself and he's influenced to change, you change yourself and the phone rings again for the 200 samosas, or you simply call somebody at the yoga studio on that island and you teach them how to make it. You didn't think of that. Teach the yoga person over there, here's what you got to do, here's the ingredients, and go on a Zoom, have her figure it out, have her talk to you, show it, taste it, whatever. Okay, I bet you that tastes good, that works. Now make 200 of them, go send them to the guy and send me $200. You didn't think of that. If you change yourself and become more resourceful yourself and stop saying no all the time to life and to what's present, then everybody seems to really dance for you. And that's a nice perk, but that's not the reason you want to do it. Because if you do that, you have a gaining idea. I'm going to change myself so that then she changes, or the other way around. You are completely and utterly alone and abandoned. You were born alone. You will die alone. You have to have yourself. Where did Jesus say the kingdom of heaven is? Within you. If you do this, sky's the limit. You can do anything you want. What do you want? You want more money? You want more success? You want more sexual energy? You were saying you had low sexual energy before. What do you want? What do you need? Do you want more physical health? What? If you don't have a need and you don't have a problem, you can't have a solution. So needs and problems are not with the other person. If they're with the other person, then you get this heart struggling thing because you can't change them. It's the road to hell. You can't change anybody. You say, oh, how do I feel into my heart? How do I breathe into my heart? How do I do it now? Well, I have to go here. I have to surrender so much because I'm a big talking head. Look at all the knowledge I got. It's disgusting. How do I feel in my heart? Calm down. You do that, you'll see everybody. And you'll also see that people are really lost in life. They're really searching for something outside themselves. But if you're going to die alone, what are you going to do? Grab the other person and take them with you? What happens when you die with all the people that you're so attached to and so interested in? So, of course, death is a myth. It's a transitional thing. Otherwise, saints are liars. Once you begin to calm down, settle down, slow down, touch down, your bubble bursts. You can't start this healing process until your bubble bursts. The bubble bursts with being wrong, being incompetent. I don't know. I need help. Once you do that, you see a lot of cool things. You see a lot of mysteries. There's no use in me saying much about it. And I understand why these sage people don't talk about it much, because there's no ears for it. But there's a lot of things that you can perceive. But if you're stuck on you being the one that's special, or you being the one that perceives the supernatural or whatever, if that's something that most people believe, I'm the enlightened one and I can't wait till the other person figures it out. If that's the way your mind is, which is how we're programmed, you're just going to suffer. But if you can have the bubble burst and you can calm down and slow down and all that stuff, you perceive eternity. You perceive the light, the path to being perfect, to become, because you can see where your distortions are in your karma, right? Your thoughts or whatever you like, lack, confusions. You can see that, and you can also feel the substance of healing, like somebody caring about you unconditionally. So you can feel those two things at the same time. Since your life becomes imbued with feeling those things at the same time, you have no problem with your future. You know eternity. You know you'll be healed. If that's what you're doing today. If you're too busy to do that, I understand. But if that's what you're doing today, then it's very nice to have that confirmation. I know that. Maybe I can't actualize it, but I know it. I perceive. I perceive I'm being healed, and I perceive I need to be healed. Oh, that's nice. So do you perceive you need to be healed, and do you perceive that you're being healed right now?
Yeah.
Good. And let it cause some kind of meditative absorption, kind of like a cat nap or something. That's meditation. How many minutes, Opie?
About 10.
Okay.
Do you have another question, sweetheart?
Not right now. I gotta send Sean the prep list. He didn't. I didn't send it.
Okay,
You can go ahead. Sorry, I have to step away for 1 second.
that's okay.
Where's the prep?
I got another question here.
Mhm.
I've really worked on, is it possible? Well, let me ask the question first. My brain, I gotta just take a breath. Can you summarize the illusions that I'm bound by so that I may play by the rules, so to speak, as you say? So can you
Yeah,
just
sure.
speak of these illusions again?
Sure. How you want it? Easy way, hard way.
The hard way.
You have
Yes.
no idea what the hell you're talking about. You're completely lost and confused, utterly hopeless and helpless. I am. And I'm saying you are, not saying that you are and I'm not. I'm just saying that's what you needed to know. So you don't necessarily know that. Now, I think that's the difference between being healed or not. The person being healed knows that. I don't know what's going on. I have lots of issues. I need to admit that and have my bubble burst. So that's the hard way, You're confused, you have a problem, you need professional help. And believe me, it ain't just me. So when you realize that I'm confused, I have a problem, I need professional help. When you realize I am self-will run riot and I repeat bad behaviors, bad attitudes, bad emotions, bad speech, sins on purpose and willingly, and I can't stop. I am a full-blown, out-of-control addict. When you can do that in yourself, and you can have one moment of stillness that transcends time and have suspended animation, you'll find that the basis of your healing is cultivated in your humility, in your recognition of, well, wait a minute, I can give Sean the prep list and continue this meditation. When we are off the call, I can continue what he told me to do. The problem is somebody else told you to do it. So that's why you got to create your own understanding so that you recognize how you can continue this healing energy in every action. You don't leave this and then go over there and enter into being a maniac. That's not going to help you. When you leave this and you go into the drum beat and you remember the steps and you say 10 in your mind, you do the 10, you write it on the fridge, and that's the life that you lead. If you want to lead a life of magic. Some people go through life on a magic carpet ride, They're never sick, they have plenty of money, all this kind of stuff. You can actualize more of that kind of an existence by telling the truth that right now it would help your whole life if you accepted your emotional state, if you accepted your inner state. Linda said this morning about thoughts, because we have all these gadgets, measure brain waves, measure heart rate variability. The heart math unit is great if you ever want to spend 250 or 300 or 250, I think, on it. It's an advanced heart rate variability thing and different measurements, blood pressure, blood sugar, and every once in a while I apply one of these things. So this morning she was doing the heart rate variability thing, and she was then kind of sad about how she can't stop thinking. And I was saying, well, that's the whole process to not thinking is to recognize that you're thinking all over the place. So we all are like this. Discursive thoughts are mostly negative and are endless for every single person. That's science. So once you recognize that by saying, that's my state of mind, that's not different than me talking to Sean. I can be talking to Sean and recognizing this. If I want to help Sean, I have to help myself. If I help Sean in an objectified way, one, to help him, and two, so I can get $1 so I can buy an ice cream cone, that's not a good enough reason to help things. You want to help Sean and help Anthony, help yourself, help each other, and the rest of it, because this is what's present here now. And if you observe this situation of a lot of thoughts and so forth, you can recognize that feeling peace of mind can cushion and add perspective to all of these thoughts, and your thoughts will spontaneously organize. like a magic moment. How many minutes?
About 6.
Okay.
6.
Do you want 10?
15. Let's go 15. 8:15.
8:15 mean 9:15.
Yeah.
Okay.
9:15.
You're
Whatever
gonna
it is, plus 15 minutes.
you're gonna do
15,
it?
Yep, we got it.
Wow.
15 minutes. Yes.
Well,
15
you just got a miracle now,
Let me change this.
because everything in you will always say that this direction of what he's talking about or spiritual people talk about, I can't do that. I have something else that's more important that must get done. And if I don't do it, then my life is going to experience trauma and tragedy. And that's where you're wrong. Only if you deny everybody and everything in your life and do this will your life get better. There's no other way. I know that appears illogical to many people listening to me now, but it's like you have to put the gas in the car. If you never are putting the gas in the car, you're running on empty, you come up with a world that's on the brink of World War III. You come up with all kinds of things. Poverty, when there's more food and we throw out food like it's nothing. And people are starving to death right now. Violences, diseases. So that's actually in our own lives, all these things happen when you don't fight off the compulsion to externalize your attention and discover the inner world. Because really, it's the inner world where everything's taking place. One projector light, many scenes. You think you're on the screen, but really, you're the one that's producing the movie and you're producing the light and everything. If you have a moment of stillness right now, you change your experience with Sean. Is that where you're going to meet with, Sean?
No, we have another appointment in Kilauea.
May I ask what it is?
It's for the a chiropractor appointment. She had to book us out for a while, and so we have that appointment.
So that external help that comes to you when you go to this appointment is very, very nice and very, very wonderful. And it's based on your receptivity, your mood, your attitude, right? All this kind of stuff. Because an external solution is just a catalyst. So at every turn, the phenomena of drop and pop happens. That means that when stillness starts to happen, automatically you're going to begin to become distracted. Every time. So there's going to have to be a moment like you did today with the extra 10 more minutes or so. There has to be a time where you have to make a sacrifice. You're going to have to sacrifice outer action for inner restoration and inner soul searching and things like that. And for the people that say, you have time for that, they have no idea what they're talking about. Navy SEAL says slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Navy SEAL says that if you're not in touch with your emotions on the battlefield, you're just going to die. You have to be super careful if you want to be the greatest operator, whether you're a warrior or a lover or a businesswoman or man, or somebody receiving help from a chiropractor. You must establish the drumbeat that becomes with instrumentation. Because the drumbeat that doesn't have instrumentation might become dry, But if the drumbeat has some type of rhythm and symphony around it and all these other things going on, and that's what your state of mind is right now, then that means when you walk to the car and you get in the car and when you drive and when you have your experiences today, everything's going to be different. But if you can't change your mind to do this now, then you will never do it. And you will die unfulfilled. So you better make it a now decision more. Because I can assure you from my experience that if you want healing and happiness and things like that, health and wealth in your life, you'll have to prioritize healing your own mind and your own emotions, look in the mirror, and accept this wonderful cascading waterfall of grace that happens when you have great contact with someone or something. The people that work for you, the quotes that work for you, it's okay. You can be in the midst of your daily life and spend just 10 seconds. You say 10 in your mind and make great contact, because one moment can change everything, So you've got to find a way to prioritize this. And that's the fight that you're in. Who's going to win? Is it going to be the externalized reality, or is it going to be your internal reality that is eternal? Because if you do the internal reality, right now by saying Waheguru and stopping, then the external reality is easy. You can do whatever you want. You got power in your mind, in your hands. You can do what you need to get done more efficiently, more effectively, in less time with better results. But do you see how every time it's a battle for me to get you to stop? Do you understand that? So look at that phenomena. And then when you see that phenomena, begin to apply some of the lessons to your life with your morning routine, 10-5 customized, and you'll find things getting better like they have been. But if you don't prioritize how things got better, they're not going to get any more better. You know? So when we started, what? You had a little tiny 10 and nothing, right? Is that right or not?
Mm-hmm.
So when the power happens and new things change, and now you're married, you still got to go to the waterfall as your primary deal. Otherwise, the outside's not going to change like it did. Now you have better house. Now you have better business. Now you have more closeness in relationship. So don't make little targets and shoot little arrows. Draw the arrow back. Spend time drawing the arrow back and targeting what you need to do, what you need to accomplish today. So that's all I know to say. The world of karma draws us out. But if you do these 10-5 customize and so forth, you'll see your life making continuous progress.
So I just heard an advanced version of stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah, sounds great.
A super advanced version of that. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Oh. Thank you. Have at it today. I will hug and kiss Lena for you, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
But that's Thanksgiving.
Oh, see you, I don't know when.
The following week?
When you like. All right,
that would be
following week.
All right, thanks again.
And I suggest you send me some questions, okay?
You're welcome. Question. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
The 5th, okay. December.